Yo, what's going on, guys? Chris Bonner here, Overtime Athletes. Got my man Phil DeRue. Phil,
what's up, brother?
Need no introduction. You guys have seen him on the channel before. If you haven't checked him out, make sure you check out his YouTube channel, his Instagram, his Twitter. Have the details down below. But since I have him here, he came over, stopped by. We were just chopping it up about a video that we would love to make for you guys. And I know I do have a lot of BJJ athletes on the channel. And one thing we were just chopping it up from a grand or macro perspective is your approach as far as strength training. If you're somebody, if you're talking to somebody who's either a BJJ athlete or wanting to get it, or already in the sport, or wanting to get into the sport. If you have, imagine I'm a green athlete, I'm coming to you to be able to, help me out as far as strength training goes, to be able to facilitate or get better at the sport on that side of things as far as my physical capabilities. If you can touch on your approach, or whether it be a template or what you're trying to work on as far as in the strength training, as far as that sport.
Yeah, Chris, so first and foremost, we always want to do an assessment, right? So I'm going to go ahead and see how you move, and then also want to see how well you roll, right? And I also want to see your game. Are you a top guy? Are you a bottom guy? Do you like to move a lot, or do you like to stay heavy? And from that perspective, I can kind of base the strength conditioning off of what you do as far as your game plan. Also, you always obviously want to work on posterior chain strength. You want to work on core stability. You also want to work a lot on grip strength. So that's going to be a key factor. That's what I usually focus on when you're talking about an overall strength program. And then obviously we're going to base some of the weaknesses that you have off of the assessments that I see, and then you're rolling. I'm going to see that, and then we're going to go ahead and put that into play.
Gotcha. And one thing we talked about was, like, as far as like where you're putting the most bang for your buck. Obviously, you said core, grip strength. We also talked about a lot of isometric holds. Some, contrary to what other people might think of, like, you're not doing a lot of movement based, a lot of isometric holds, and you're trying to build that absolute strength up. But then again, that comes down to the assessment of how much potential they have for each one, where their ceiling is, and then you're attacking those particular things to be able to elevate them in their sport.
For sure. I think that, again, it goes back to like seeing and knowing the athlete again, and then from there, it really depends on if they're a gi practitioner or a no-gi practitioner, because there's two totally different games there. Especially in no-gi, there's going to be a lot more transitions, right? They're going to be moving a lot more. So having the ability to be stable but also move dynamically, so proximal stability with distal mobility is going to be key. Having active range of motion inside of all joint capsules are going to be also important. When you're talking about gi practitioners, a lot of times it's really close quarters. You're obviously holding onto the gi a lot more. There's more gi chokes involved. So yeah, there's going to be a lot more quasi and isometric work there, and then finger strength and overall ability to stay based and have that, have that structural integrity is going to be important too.
Gotcha. And so now you touched on strength a lot. What do you, as far as touching on conditioning, just as a whole on a macro level, what would that look like? Well,
first and foremost, most of the matches are 5 minutes long, right? And again, if you're looking at it from a tournament-based approach, or just in general when you're getting into a class, trying to roll for extended amount of rolls and time. So what you want to do is you want to develop first an aerobic base, right? So we have to develop that large aerobic capacity so we can set the ceiling high. That's going to help with all the other energy demands throughout that sport. Then we also want to work on repeated sprint ability. We want to work on the ability to, especially with the no-gi guys, when they get in those transitions and you have to get out of certain positions, we need to be able to move and get out and then do it efficiently throughout the entire time of the match or the entire time of the roll. And then anaerobic threshold and lactate threshold. So a lot of lactic work inside those close quarters with the gi guys, because again, they're going to build up a lot of lactic from those isometric tension holds. So we do want to work on lactic style conditioning too as well. You can do that in a duration of a time frame that you're going to be competing in, or the rolls that you do every 5 minutes. So again, really depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're getting ready for a tournament or you're just trying to get in shape for a class, it really is going to depend on that. But I would always run a concurrent style of an approach when it comes down to the energy demands, because there is multi, bioenergetic demands of that type of sport.
Gotcha. No doubt, man. I appreciate it. I hope this helps you guys out, my man. I appreciate you so much.
No doubt.
Absolutely. Check his stuff out. Check out the program down below that he put together called Ground Control. You guys can check that down in the description. I'll see you guys next time.